Hello everyone, welcome back to day 19 of Polity Daily Drill. Let's begin. First question. A 36 years old person who is a citizen of India is qualified for election as a member of the Lok Sabha and does not hold any office of profit. Constitutionally, this person is qualified for which of the following other offices? So, of course, we know that for the President of India or the Governor or the Vice President, they all must be of the age 35 or above and, of course, should not hold any office of profit. However, for the President, there is a clear-cut criteria that he should be eligible to become a member of the Lok Sabha. This means he should be qualified to be an MP in the Lok Sabha as per the constitution. Whereas for the Vice President, he should be qualified to become a member of the Rajya Sabha. Hence, of course, this particular qualification does not stand true for the Vice President. What about the Governor? So there is no such requirement for the Governor to either be eligible to be a member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Nothing as such, right? So of course this can be correct. 1 is also correct. So 1 and 2 are the correct offices, A being the right answer. Moving on to question number 2. Consider the following statements. According to the Constitution of India, both the President and the Governor enjoy equal powers with respect to the special address at the commencement of the first session after each general election and at the commencement of the first session of each year. So I hope you are aware that the President under Article 87 and the Governor under Article 176 has to give a mandatory special address, meaning a speech. This is actually mandatory, not optional. So he has to address the houses together on certain occasions, that is the first session after each elections and also the first session of every year. So 1 is correct. Now, as per Lok Sabha rules, the special address of the President is prepared and presented independently by the President, highlighting the government's successes and failures as a part of policy evaluation. Now here comes the catch. Once the Governor or the President has delivered his or her speech, as per the Lok Sabha rules, rule number 16, the speech has to be put to vote. This is what is known as motion of thanks. So this motion of thanks or vote of thanks has to be approved in the houses and it must be passed in the Lok Sabha. Of course, it will be passed in the Lok Sabha. Why? Because the government enjoys majority in the Lok Sabha, right? Now, coming to this entire idea of who prepares the speech. So the speech is prepared by the ruling party, the government, and it lists basically the achievements of the government and the objectives of the government in future. And hence, there is absolutely no requirement for the President to prepare this speech on his own. In fact, he cannot. He has to simply read out the speech prepared by the government, right? So 2 is incorrect, 1 is right. So right answer would be A1 only. And just to also tell you, in case the motion of thanks is not passed in the Lok Sabha, it could amount to bringing a no confidence motion in the House, right? As far as amendments to speeches are concerned, amendments have been done in the past, though it is not appreciated at all that the House amends provisions of the speech, finding faults in the government's whole scenario of laying down their achievements. If the government claims that it has achieved great things and the House finds a fault in it, it amounts to, or it is seen as, a reprimand, a censure, scolding the government. Don't lie, don't present false facts. So that's it. Moving on to question number 3. What amongst the following is a special power of Rajya Sabha not available with the Lok Sabha? Voting on demand for grants. Now, voting on demand for grants is a special power of Lok Sabha. Introducing a privilege motion. Now, such motions can be introduced in either house. Introduction of a private member's bill. What is a private member's bill? Who is a private member? Any MP who is not a minister is known as a private member. He can be elected, he can be nominated, he can be from BJP, Congress, etc. The only consideration here is that he should not be a minister. So, introduction of such bills, this can also be done in both the houses, either house. Hence, D, none of the above is the right answer. Moving on to question number 4. Consider the following statements regarding the contempt of court in India. So, contempt of court is actually one of the restrictions under Article 19 on the freedom of speech and expression mentioned in 19 clause 2. And contempt of court is governed through a law that is called Contempt of Court Act of the year 1971, which replaced the old laws on contempt. First statement, willfully disobeying a court's order could amount to civil contempt of court. This statement is absolutely correct. In fact, civil contempt of court means that you deliberately, knowingly, willfully disobey a court's order. So, one is correct. Second one, criticism of judicial decisions regardless of fairness amounts to criminal contempt. Now, when it comes to criticizing the judicial actions, fair criticism, if you have performed fair criticism of judicial actions, the law itself says under their section 5, it is mentioned clearly under Contempt of Court Act that such things are not to be considered, not to be deemed to be contempt. So, criticism which is fair will not amount to contempt. Hence, 2 is incorrect, which means A, 1 only is the right answer. And the last question for today, question number 5. Consider the following statements regarding CAT, the Central Administrative Tribunal. The provisions of tribunals were added to the Constitution based on the recommendation of the Swarn Singh Committee. This statement is actually correct. Sardar Swarn Singh Committee gave the recommendation which was incorporated through the 42nd Amendment Act of the year 1976, and we had two articles, 323A and 323B. 323A, tribunals on administrative matters like CAT, SAT, JAT. JAT would be a joint administrative tribunal if required. And for other matters like environment, land revenue, etc., tribunals to be made under Article 323B. So, one is correct. Second statement, it is a part of the basic structure of the Constitution that the High Courts have power to exercise judicial supervision and charge over the decisions of all courts and tribunals within their jurisdiction. This is absolutely correct. You can refer to Article 227 for this to get a clear and exact picture. Third one, the CAT is empowered to frame its own rules of procedure and practice. This is also correct. In fact, this is one advantage of tribunals, that they frame their own rules. They are free from the procedural shackles of CPC, Evidence Act, etc. Which means what? Which means fast, quick justice. The fourth one, the decision of the CAT can be challenged only before the Supreme Court by filing an SLP, special leave petition. Now, this is where there is a problem. Why? Because there has been a court judgment, L. Chandra Kumar, the case of 1997, where Supreme Court has said that the awards of tribunals will be challenged firstly in the High Court. So first appeal is in the High Court and the final appeal would go to the Supreme Court. So 4 is wrong. How many statements are correct? C. Only 3 statements are correct. This brings us to an end of our discussion for today. Let's meet tomorrow. Till then, that's all for me, guys. Jai Hind.